Hey, what's up, PTSD buddies? We're gonna do another PTSD Buddy Chat, and I'm with my friend Kris. Kris and I did a video before, but it kind of got cut short because it was my fault with my bad speakers and volume and stuff. But she's that good of a person that she's going to do it again tonight. Hey, Kris,
Hi.
what's going down?
Not much.
Yeah. Where's the little dog? You put the little dog away?
No, she's.
Oh, there you go.
See him?
Oh, you got two. I didn't realize you had
do.
two. Well, right on. Yeah, I got one myself. Do you find the dogs kind of like can they sense any kind of triggers in you when they happen?
No.
No?
The dog? Nah.
I know my dog, like, I swear sometimes it can tell if I'm feeling depressed or something and just sit next to me.
Oh, you see, if I'm not feeling good,
Yeah.
my dog will just sit on my chest.
Yeah, I find some dogs they just sense certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Kris, remind our members, I don't want to ask you to share any trauma stories unless you wanted to, but remind our members, how long have you been dealing with PTSD?
Since 2002-ish, so over 10 years.
Yeah, and was it like an occupation or something that happened?
I was working as EMS. I was doing that since I was like 18 years old, and we got called down to the World Trade Center, and of course we went. We were waiting.
Right.
So, we went down to Ground Zero, stayed there for a few days, and, came back, got pretty sick.
Yeah.
And, a lot of the symptoms started rearing its ugly little head probably about 6 months to a year later.
6 months, yeah, that's something I've heard a few times. So, were you the first person to notice a change in yourself, or did someone tell you like that you're different?
I don't know. I started pulling away from a lot of people. Like, you're in a certain circle when you're in EMS.
Yeah.
And you can't do that anymore. So I started pulling away from, a lot of people. There was one person that had mentioned something that, I should probably talk about it or whatever. But even then, I was like,
Yeah.
At that point, at that very moment in my life, my life was ruined. That was it. I was on a certain path. I was on a path to get my nursing degree. I was, working full-time, going to school full-time, and that was all just sort of ripped away. So, it wasn't really all about talking about it at that moment. It took a few years.
Yeah.
Before I even said anything.
What were your first signs that something was different?
Really not being able to function,
Yeah.
And there wasn't really much that I was sort of just holed up in my house all day.
Yeah.
And, we have doctors that you can see, like the World Trade Center doctors. They go through the list of things and, as you're checking off. So one of the, the doctors there had mentioned seeing a psychiatrist and a counselor and all that other stuff. And I started to.
Yeah. How did that go?
It went very well. It was a very slow process.
Yeah.
It's not easy to trust somebody right off the bat,
No, and often it takes a while to find that right person.
Right.
I mean, it's not easy to share with just anybody. I know it's easier for me to share with one of the PTSD buddies most of the time because they can relate.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So what
You
did
know,
they
a lot
start?
of people, I remember one of the questions they had asked me was, like, am I afraid that I'm going to be hurt or hurt by somebody or something to that effect? And it was like what, it was like a paranoid assessment type thing, it's like, like a real mental health assessment type thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, with everything that I've seen, would you really think that it's like, that far-fetched to think that, we're not immune to any of this? And
Yeah.
it's not just talking about, the World Trade Center, it's talking about all the EMS stuff, the bad, really bad calls. You see it.
Well, that's all you guys get is bad calls. There's, you're right. I mean, nobody calls you guys when, hey, there's a party going on. Do you want to come over? Right?
It's very true.
Yeah, like I could totally see how you could have a phobia over the phone ringing.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. Unless you experience it, I think, like, you don't really get a good concept of why somebody could be so afraid. Like, and why can I be afraid? Because, I've seen it happen. Like,
Yeah.
time and time and time again. So nothing makes me immune to what's happened to them. So I don't know. It's even now I find myself every once in a while getting like, those fears back, but working on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a day-to-day process, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you find yourself kind of hide away from the world, from your family?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, because of that. What?
with PTSD, I was going to say with PTSD, we all kind of wear a mask, I find. We try to be the person we think everyone wants us to be. And it's hard to be that person all the time.
Yeah, that's very true.
Mm. I mean, when you go through some trauma, it changes you. I mean, I can't even imagine some of the stuff you've seen, Kris. Some of my best friends are EMS, and I've heard some of the stories, and I can't even imagine what you guys go through, what you guys see. Like, I mean, every day an EMS person goes to work, there's going to be at least one bad call. You know, it's it's a normal thing for them. Well, if you call it normal, but I can't imagine what you go. Even like the dispatchers. What I mean, they're not on the scenes, but they hear everything, and a lot of stress on the dispatchers. Let alone the
Yeah,
people on the scene. I mean, I can't even imagine what you guys see, what you guys go through. And some people do it 20, 30 years.
I know.
It's unbelievable.
I'd still be doing it, I think, if I, didn't wind up getting sick.
Yeah. I hate it when they call you people, you guys, ambulance drivers. That's something I heard a few times. Oh, yeah. You're a bit more qualified than just a driver of an ambulance. My gosh. Yeah. One of my good friends, Vince, he said when he was a paramedic in EMS in the 80s. And that's what they called them back then was
Yeah.
ambulance drivers. He said, "Oh yeah, I hated that, Jamie. Hated it." uh, um, well, Kris, how about nightmares? I know myself, nightmares has been a big part of my PTSD for many years. Have you had issues with nightmares throughout your years with PTSD?
Um, in the beginning, absolutely. Even working through some stuff, absolutely. I think over the years, it started to subside, and now as we get closer and closer to anniversaries and dates, a lot of things are rearing their ugly heads.
Yeah.
It does get better. Eventually you learn to live with it, I guess, and you learn to cope with it. Would maybe be a better way to say that.
Yeah. I find like throughout the years you've had more time to process what happened, so the dreams can get less.
Right.
I know what worked for me was I used to write out my dreams. I kept a little notebook next to my bed, and I'd have a dream and I'd write it out, and then try to figure. I used to try to figure it out. My psychologist, it was amazing what she could do, try to figuring things out with her dream dictionary she had. Yeah, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You ever have any reoccurring nightmares?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's usually one of those things that kind of keeps you awake for the rest of the night because you don't want to
Yeah, that's how.
do it again.
I'm sorry if I hit a touchy subject there.
No, it's
No?
not touchy.
Okay.
You know what it is like I wish I had like an artistic bone in my body because if I could just draw out the scenes that I see in my head,
Yeah.
I feel like it would just be out there, and not like stuck in my head.
Okay.
So at least I don't even know if that makes sense, but it's something that I've always kind of wished I could just do. Like just put it on paper, just draw it, just see it, so it's not like trapped.
All right, PTSD buddies, we're doing a call out for any kind of sketch artist. If any members are sketch artists, we'd love to meet with you and have a little chat with you. We got
So you got banana pancakes.
We got yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yes. We'll get him to sketch a picture of Andrew making those banana pancakes. The reoccurring nightmares, is this something that's still going on for you?
For a while it was good, and I don't know if it's because I've been going through like sort of these doctor's appointments and like you have to talk about this stuff to again more perfect strangers.
Yeah.
Or if because September is coming, it's starting again.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Especially talking about it.
Yeah.
Bringing up old memories, yeah.
Yeah. And at this point I don't even mind. It's just, it's weird. Because, with a doctor, it's, I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it other than that. They're there with a purpose. And you have to tell them. You can't, sit there and be like, no, everything's good,
Yeah, it's so hard to put it in words.
Right.
Yeah, I tried so many times. It's so hard to put in words. You said September, I guess, you can almost call a trigger for you. Because it brings you back to that memory. Any other triggers that you have, that you know of?
I know driving long distances for some reason.
Yeah.
Going into the city is even just the thought of it, the thought of flying. And there's certain, for a while, even just hearing a plane overhead was freaking me out,
Yeah.
But, again, that's sort of not faded, but was easier to cope with.
Yeah.
For some reason, things intensify, like this whole driving thing. It's intensified this past month, where I'm, really freaking out when I'm in the car, which it's not something you want to do,
Yeah. Is it just driving itself, or is it like driving in traffic, or?
No, it's just driving itself, maybe on the road, we have a lot of big, expressways, parkways, and things like that.
Heck yeah,
And
some of the biggest in the world, I would imagine.
Yeah. For a while, that's all I would do was drive. I wouldn't take a train because you're trapped. I wouldn't take a plane because you're trapped.
Oh.
I don't like taking public transportation, like buses, no, because you're trapped.
Yes, traffic is a trigger for me. I'm a driver in the military, so traffic is a trigger for me. Because exactly, I've never heard anyone say it like that. It's because you're trapped. Kick it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's horrible. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't,
No,
trigger you.
my wife usually drives when it's downtown. I'm usually just yelling from inside the cab or complaining. Yes, I like to do a lot of complaining about other people's driving. Especially if you're going under the speed limit. If you're under the speed limit, I hate everybody in the vehicle. Everybody. I've actually been driving downtown and the guy's doing 20 in a 60 zone. So I just lay on the horn. Right? My son's like, Dad, what are you doing? I said, I'm being an asshole. I can't take it no more. Yes, driving can be a trigger.
Yeah, I know. See, for you, I can understand that.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not quite sure why. Driving was always my, like...
Yeah, but you were in an ambulance.
I'm in control.
You were in an ambulance in one of the most craziest accident. I don't know. I can't call it an accident. I don't even know what to call it. Disasters, attacks. You know, in history. And yeah, I mean, you were in an ambulance. You were in a moving vehicle, right? Were you driving?
No, I was in the back in the
Yeah, in a moving vehicle. Yeah, during something like that. Yeah, I can't see why vehicles would be a trigger.
Sarcasm is unappreciated.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing some triggers, but how about grounding techniques? Do you have any ways that you calm back down, cool out?
I do.
Yeah. Drink a bottle of wine.
It's very rare that I'll drink.
Yeah.
It's it's whatever.
There's nothing wrong with having a glass of wine if that calms you down. Now, if you come home and drink a bottle, then well, you should probably talk.
Right. And like if if people are socially drinking, I'll have one. But I don't know. You know what like really winds up grounding me better than anything is like the mindfulness, like trying to slow my head down because now at that point everything is racing through it. So I just kind of like go to my happy place, like literally, and just use all 5 senses. What can I hear? What can I feel? What can I smell? What can I touch? And it just sort of brings me back down to like from here to like where I'm not so, I don't know, freaked out or anxious.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. One of the first grounding techniques I learned from a psychologist was close my eyes and just count 5 sounds that I hear. Half the time I'm there forever because I can only hear 2 or 3 because I had an explosion go off next to my left ear and I don't hear very good that ear and sometimes it rings.
But ringing counts.
Yeah, my doctor, my military medical doctor told me, because I went to him, I said, listen, I have ringing in my ear lots. And he's like, turn on the stereo when you go to sleep. I was like, really? That's okay. I guess that works. I was looking for some kind of way maybe to fix it, not deal with it. But thank you.
Doesn't that suck? Like you wanna just fix. I'm done. Like I don't want to deal with anything anymore. Just fix.
Yeah.
No more solutions. Just fix it.
Yeah.
Doesn't really happen very often with us, does it?
No, I know how to deal with it. I come home and I kick the cat. No, I'm just kidding. I did that. I say that sometimes in my speeches, and I said it in Toronto one time. I go home and kick the cat, and after the speech, some lady said to me, I can't believe you kick your cat. I'm like, oh my God, lady, I'm sorry. I don't actually kick my cat, but I'm just trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Well, Kris, you seem to be dealing with PTSD pretty good. If you could account to dealing with PTSD to one thing, what thing really helps you the most?
I think trying to like bring myself back down, even just talking about it, which I was a little leery about. I feel like talking about it makes it like more open. It's more in front of you, like something that I've avoided doing for years and years and years, and now I just like I don't care anymore. Like I don't care who I tell. I don't care who knows. I don't,
Yep.
And just knowing that I have the ability to use the coping skills that I've learned through school, through counselors, through whatever, knowing that they're there. And sometimes I have to be reminded, and that's okay.
Well, probably, when you were first dealing with it, it wasn't really talked about. You probably felt pretty alone, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, when you feel that alone, you're almost scared to talk about it. I know I was scared to talk about it for a while because I've seen people who talked about it lose their jobs. Right?
That's right.
And that's the last thing I wanted to do was lose my career over admitting I had a problem.
Yeah, see, that's scary. I can't even. That's horrible.
And there is some still today there are some places, and some times where you don't want that label of mental illness because they take every mental illness out there and they put it all together into one barrel and they label it mental illness, which is wrong. Which is wrong. You can't put everything into one big barrel. No, like schizophrenia and PTSD and depression, all this can't go into one barrel and call it mental health or mental illness and put everyone in one room. No, that's wrong. You can't do that. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
That's the world.
100% right.
That's the
It
world
should
we
all
live
be.
in right
It
now.
should be separated.
Yeah, that's the world we live in. Our mental health building is called the Waterford Hospital here in St. John's, Newfoundland, and it is the second oldest building in North America. I say again, in North America. That's Canada and the USA. And I've been in the building one time. I went in to visit somebody. And I walked inside the front door, and there wasn't even a receptionist. I had to actually call the guy and say, "Where do I go? What do I do?" It was disgusting.
Wow.
I found this out
That's
too. The oldest building in North America actually is our jail. So we have number
sweet.
one and number two. All right, go Newfoundland,
Well,
Canada.
most of our, like, I can't even say we have any hospitals that are just dedicated for mental health.
Yep.
A lot of the hospitals do have psychiatric wards, but like the hospitals that were dedicated for mental health, they're gone. They were unfunded and they're gone. When I had worked in a non-for-profit, I hadn't nobody got a raise in like 4 years because, the aid just wasn't there. Like, and it's
Wow.
still about today. Like, New York has like a really, really bad opiate crisis. Like, bad. Like,
Yeah.
people are dropping. And they're saying, well, how can we deal with this? How can we deal with this? And in my mind, like, I mean, this is a whole different topic, but like addiction and mental health go hand in hand.
Sure do. Go ahead. Yes.
And you're taking away the mental health services, and you're wondering why people are self-medicating. Like, it's a no-brainer. And the way treatment is set up is almost like a criminal model, and that's never going to work. If you're calling it a disease, it's a disease, and it needs to be treated as a disease. It shouldn't be treated, as a criminal model where you're forced to go, you have to go to court, and if you don't do the mandated stuff in the courts, you're out.
Right.
It's not a good setup, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem to be working regardless. So,
No.
it's something that's often overlooked, mental health in general, and stuck in like a big giant pot with everything else, which just.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Hopefully we're headed to a world of change. Something's got to change. Kris, what's next for you?
Well, my son is starting kindergarten in September, which is like.
Whoa. How's that feel?
I have a big anxiety.
Yeah, because I bet you that's more scary for the mom.
Oh, it's terrible. I don't like, so now I'm looking for a job that I can work while he's in school. And, people aren't really, I have to thank this lady, really, honestly, I have to thank her, because she was honest. Like, I use loft-strand crutches to get around. And working in mental health with crutches is just, it's not compatible, I guess, because if a patient gets a hold of one, it could be used as a tool, used for violence.
Right.
Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
You can't chase after people. So she did. She outright said, I'm going to put you in for the second interview. I think you're great. You know your stuff. However, the crutches may be an issue. And I had that thought in the back of my head with all these interviews, like, is it me? Am I doing something wrong? Or is it because of my disability? And it may be both, but I'm kind of glad she had told me that it was because of the crutches. I felt a little less bad about myself. So I'm still looking, and hopefully I'll find something. Keep myself busy.
Right on. Brenda's joined us, Kris, and she says hello.
Hi, Brenda.
Well, Kris, if you had a message to send to anyone with PTSD who's hiding away somewhere, what would it be?
Just keep going. There's people out there, don't ever give up, and just, keep trying things until something works, because something will eventually work. And reach out to whoever you can.
Yeah, do like my son says, be like Dory, Dad, and keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. All right, Kris, I'm going to let you go, but thanks for joining. It was great talking to you again. And we're definitely going to do another one soon.
Okay.
All right?
Have a good one.
All right, and give your son a hug for me.
I will.
Cheers.
Bye.
All right, guys, that's another episode of PTSD Buddy Chat. I'd like to thank Kris for joining me. It was really great talking to you, and thanks for sharing all those stories. I can't imagine what it was like being down there during the World Trade Center was going down. So if you have any comments, please leave them below for me and Kris. Any questions, leave it in a comment, and I'll do my best to answer every one. And please forward, share, do all that, so we can get more subscribers. The more subscribers we get to PTSD Buddies channel, the more videos we can make. And I think the more videos we can make, the more we'll help. All right. Stay cool, everybody. Cheers.